In today's tech tip, we're going to discuss setting up a seating die and using the crimp feature. In our previous installment, I set up this custom grade new dimension seating die and did not use the crimp feature. Now let's set it up with the crimp. Before we get started setting up this seating die using the roll crimp feature, I'd like to note that it has already been completely disassembled and degreased, which is a very important step when using any reloading die. I'd also like to note that the same procedures here will also apply to our American series of rifle dies. First thing you'll do is take the lock and load bushing and install that into the press. You'll then take a prepped 223 Remington case, or whichever cartridge you're doing, and you will run it to the top of the stroke. You'll take your seating die and ensure that the crimp ring is loose and that the stem is backed at least halfway out of the die. This alignment collar is where your crimp ring is located. We'll simply thread this die into the top of the press until resistance is felt. I use 2 fingers, so I don't put a whole lot of force, and you can see right where that die contacts the crimp ring on the case mouth. At that point, we'll back that off approximately half a turn, and we'll lightly secure that lock ring. We won't tighten it, but we'll just secure it. At this point, we're going to establish our bullet seating depth. This 60 grain VMAX bullet is going to be seated to a depth of 2.250. It's important to note that this cantilever groove is necessary for the style of roll crimping that we're doing. Without that cantilever groove, you should not crimp that bullet. We'll feel that the bullet just slightly started to seat. Raise the handle and we can see we've got quite a ways to go. So we'll simply lower this bullet seater adjustment screw pretty significantly at first to get that case mouth lined up with that cantilever groove. And again, the depth we're looking for is approximately 2.250. Right there, we're about 20 thousandths long, so we'll come down just a little bit more. .254. That's acceptable for our tolerances. What we're going to do now is take this bullet seater adjustment screw and actually back it out of the press. And I'll go about 1.5 to 2 full revolutions. At that point, you can loosen your lock ring. Run your cartridge now into the die. We'll now thread the die body down on top of that case until the crimp ring contacts the case mouth again. At that point, we'll simply lift the handle and we'll lower this die body about 1/16 of a turn down. And we'll feel that it now cams over slightly. And that's that crimp ring leaning the case into the crimp groove. That's a necessary crimp. We'll secure that lock ring to lock that location in on the crimp. All we need to do at this point, run that back into the die and lower that bullet seater adjustment screw down until you lightly feel it contact the bullet. At that point, secure the lock washer and your next set of components will come out seated and properly crimped.